Good afternoon, Mr. Bashir.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Great. Let's get straight into it. Let's get down to business. Jonathan Banks, Seth Mitchell last night. Banks had Mitchell in trouble on numerous occasions. Didn't finish him off. What happened?
I don't know. I was acting as a cut man, not as a trainer. I wasn't there throughout the training tenure. I came in 1 week before the fight to act as a cut man for him. As you know, I've trained Jonathan Banks on 3 occasions. So I can actually tell you, I can't put my finger on what was wrong. But he left something to be desired. And in my opinion, in my professional opinion, he put himself behind the apple cart with that performance last night. I didn't like it. I wasn't satisfied with it because I know that he's a better fighter than what he showed, but I don't know what happened, and I can't speculate on it because I have no idea. I haven't had a chance to talk to him after the fight, so I don't actually know what happened.
Well, some people would say it was a fight that was thrown. Banks was given money to throw the fight. He looked like a man that was demotivated, or a man who hadn't trained properly. That's what he looked like.
Yeah, you can say that. You know, I wasn't pleased with his physical attributes coming into the fight. I've been around boxing, like as I said, for 40 years, and I know a well-conditioned, a well-honed athlete. And as I said, Jonathan Banks in that venue left much to be desired. You know,
there was a moment in the fight. I was listening carefully, and you were working on Jonathan's eye. And the trainer there, and you jumped in and you said to him, look, you're going to lose, you're going to blow it, you're going to lose the fight. And then the trainer next to him, obviously the guy who was actually the main trainer,
Emmanuel Stewart's nephew.
Yeah, turned around and said something along the lines of kind of like, he was trying to tell you to calm down and keep quiet, as if...
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
And to me, that seemed very fishy, because to me, you were instructed in trying to engage and push Banks into
motivation.
Right? And his trainer, who was there, who you're part of the same team, was doing quite the opposite. He was saying, no, you're doing okay, keep it on. So to me, it seemed like Banks and the trainer were in on something that you weren't in on. That's what it seemed like to me. That's what it seemed like from the outside looking in. I can't...
I normally... When I act as an aide, normally when I act as a second, normally when I act as a cut man, normally when I act as a non-commissioned head trainer in the corner, I don't say a word. But being that I've been around this young man since he was 15, being that I've trained this young man, my emotions got the best of me because I saw his opportunities passing by with each round. And I wanted to interject just that moment. I act out of emotion, at which I'm really, really upset with myself because I normally don't say nothing when there's a head trainer in that corner. It's not my position to say anything. I'm a cut man. I was hired. But
you can be excused for that because you've got that close connection with Jonathan. You've known Jonathan since he was a young kid.
Yeah.
So you're like a father to him, really.
Right. You know, my emotions got the best of me because I saw this opportunity slipping by. So I wanted to interject and light a fire under him, so to speak, and get him to go forth and take charge because Seth Mitchell could have been taken charge of in that fight. Seth could have been taken charge of. If Jonathan was just stepped up a little bit, he could have taken over because Seth Mitchell didn't want nothing to do with Jonathan. In fact, one point in the fight, I told Jonathan that you're the puncher now. You're the puncher now. Alabet Ray Leonard versus Thomas Hearns, where Hearns came in perceivably as the puncher, but after Ray hurt him, Ray became the puncher, and Tommy became the boxer. So Jonathan, at one point in that fight, became the puncher, and Seth Mitchell became the boxer. And I couldn't help being emotionally charged. I said something, and I was cautioned. And me being the studious person that I am, I just kept quiet, you know. And you see the results, you know. But I think that the young people in boxing, including Emmanuel Stewart's nephew, all of these guys could learn something more if they just took time to talk to the older trainers, to take time and humble themselves and talk to the older trainers and learn a bit more about boxing. They think that they know a lot, but they, as I said, they leave something to be desired. I didn't say that this young man or none of the young men in boxing don't know nothing. No, because he worked with the amateur guys at Clark a long time. But being in the amateurs is one thing, and having the professional application is another thing. And sometimes you've got to stand back and then consult the older trainer and say, what would you do in this case? I've been in the corners with a lot of older trainers where I was the lead trainer. And in that time I was in that corner, Jimmy Glenn especially. I've worked the corner with Jimmy Glenn on many occasions. I've worked the corner with Tommy Parks on many occasions. And at some point, those guys were in the corner with me. I'd say, well, Jimmy, well, Tommy, well, you know, I can't get this guy to move. What should I do? Not because I was panicking. No, I wanted to find a better way to confront my fighter, to motivate my fighter, to get my fighter back to where I wanted him. So if my approach wasn't working, then I'm going to consult. I'm going to take advantage of the wisdom that's in that corner. Those guys are much older guys than me. They have been in the sport a long time. So I said, wow, I've got Jimmy Glenn here. I've got Tommy Parks here. You understand? I've got Bobby McQuillan here. I'm going to consult them. What do we do? What do we do? We need to try to win this fight.
But hold on. Was that ever the game plan to win the fight? Because
as far as I'm concerned.
As far as you were concerned, yeah. But you weren't the head coach. You weren't the head trainer.
Right.
What was the agenda of the head trainer? I'm not suggesting that the head trainer took back money, but it looks a bit dodgy now because, I mean...
I thought, like I said, I don't know what the agenda was. I don't want to speculate on that. You know, going into the fight, I just know what my emotions were.
Absolutely. We know, and obviously in the interview we had hours before you were going to the ring with Johnathon, those were your thoughts. And your thoughts were like you were going to win. Banks is a better boxer than Mitchell. And in the first few rounds, I mean, Seth did look a better fighter than he did the first time round. But still, he got tagged, he got hurt. The thing, he did tie it better than he did beforehand. But Banks had him out a couple of times, but didn't finish him off. It was as if Banks hurt him, and then said, you know what, I'll hurt you, just to show I can hurt you, and I could beat you if I wanted to, but I won't.
Well, it was all over Twitter. There were speculations at the fight, you know. There were speculations at the fight that he could do it, and people was saying to me right after the fight, hey, is your guy taking a dive here? Yeah. I had people in the audience asking me, is your guy taking a dive? Is he taking money? And then I started sitting back saying, no, could this be? And, you know, when somebody interjects that kind of thought in your mind, you start questioning what's happening here, you know?
Well, another odd thing was, I mean, we talked beforehand, and you said that Vladimir Klitschko would have been in the ring with Johnathon Banks. So I was sort of shocked to see Vladimir Klitschko sitting down with his girlfriend or his partner and just watching everything go by and just, you know, at no point Vladimir said, you know, he really needs to jump on Seth. He just like, you know, well, this is just the way it is.
Well, I spoke to Vladimir. Vladimir said no, he did not want to steal Jonathan's thunder. It was Jonathan's show, and that he would stay out of it, you know. I spoke to him prior to the fight. He said he did not want to take anything away from Jonathan. He wanted Jonathan to have the full show. That's why he stayed there. This is the kind of guy Vladimir Klitschko is. Very studious man, you know. He didn't want to do anything to dampen Jonathan's show. It was Jonathan's time to shine, and that's what he was moving towards. He wanted him to shine.
I mean, strategically, that means that Seth Mitchell, in theory, could get a title shot faster than Johnathon Banks.
Well, it's a matter of what a man wants. Jonathan Banks may never get a title shot. Jonathan Banks may, he may never get, you can't see him boxing like I said to you early on. Boxing, there's a small window of opportunity in boxing.
You've got to take
I've seen guys that were right there at the door and never got the title. You cannot take these things for granted. I've seen guys right at the door and never get the shot.
How much impact could it be? We mentioned two things, that Banks spent a lot of time sparring with the Klitschko's as a sparring partner, and the other thing is a trainer mentality, that he no longer is a fighter, that he's become a trainer. What about those two situations there?
It could have an effect on his performance. I don't know. I can't speculate. I can only say what could possibly be.
Well, it is upsetting because Banks is a very talented fighter. He did very well against Seth Mitchell the first fight, and a lot of people
was doing good in this fight.
Yeah, so this is it's just very, you know, he himself seemed disappointed. Now I didn't know if he had injured himself or he had, you know, the other thing.
That's one of the reasons why I don't want to speculate on his performance, because I don't know whether he injured himself, what happened. I just simply don't know. I was dismayed. I was confused, and you know, quite frankly, I was just upset about it. You know, I was upset about it.
Mitchell did connect with more punches in this fight, and at times he did seem to rock.
But he did it. But I felt that he did it because Johnathon made himself available for what happened. Johnathon didn't box the way Johnathon can box. Johnathon's a much slicker fighter than what he showed last night. I don't know whether conditioning was the factor.
He did seem tired. He did seem tired coming back to the corners as well.
Yes, he did. I admit to that. You know, I don't know whether conditioning was a factor. I don't know whether injury was a factor. I just don't know whether it was something emotional or mental going on. I simply don't know.
Here's another thing I want to throw into the pot. When Jonathan Banks fought Mitchell the first time, Emmanuel Stewart had just passed away. So there was always that thought that he could have been very emotionally fired up for the first fight against Mitchell. He was the underdog, but in some people's eyes, Mitchell was the next best thing. So he was fired up for that. Could it be that the rematch with Mitchell, the Emmanuel Stewart thing wasn't there as such, and that all the emotional hype from that had gone, and so now we're just back to just standard, get yourself prepared and fight?
I don't know. I really don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what could have caused that kind of action.
It's the most puzzling thing.
It's upsetting.
It is. I mean, I can't say that I'm a big Jonathan Banks fan because I don't watch the guy box that much. I see him fight against Adamek. I saw him fight against Seth Mitchell. I think he did well against Seth Mitchell. So, but I'm upset for him. That's the thing. I'm upset for him. So, if I'm upset for him, then God.
I just thought that he let an opportunity slip past. Whatever for the reason, whatever happened there, I felt that he let a great opportunity go by. I felt that had he gone out and taken care of the business at hand, I felt that he would have been ahead of the head of the game, taking care of that. And that's the thing that was bothering me the most, you know. Yeah, that bothered me. It bothered me a lot, you know.
I'm sure Banks can come back from this. I hope he can come back from this.
Yeah, you know what? This is his first loss in a few years, you know, and quite conceivably he can come back.
Absolutely.
But
he can come back.
But
it's how he comes back.
It would not be easy. He just made his career, in my opinion, for whatever the reason, he made his career a bit more difficult now. Because he just fell back into the back. There's a vat.
Yes.
When they're making wine, when they're making dough, and when you're out of that vat, you're in a good place. But when you fall back in the vat, you become part of it.
Yeah.
If a piece of dough falls back in the vat, you can't tell which piece of dough fell back in. You can't tell what grape fell back in the vat when you're making wine. You can't tell what grape. You're back in the vat now. So until the syrup and splashes you out again, it can be pretty tough. It can be pretty tough because he may have to face some guys now. You know, then he's going to have to face some other guys. Not saying he can beat those guys, but there's a possibility that those guys can beat him too. Coming into a fight, you've got to have that mentality that this is my opportunity, and I'm hungry for success in this opportunity. You've got to have that. You know, you can't come in with one shoe on and one shoe off. You can't come in, you know, and everything else is perfect, but you got a bad tooth in your mouth. You understand? That one little bad tooth can be critical in whether you win or lose a fight. You know? So when you have those opportunities, you've got to jump in that window and take advantage of those opportunities. And Jonathan Banks didn't do it last night. And I'm being realistic to myself. I'm upset about it.
Of course you are. Of course you are. And I'm sure there are a lot of people close to Jonathan, and Jonathan himself is probably upset. We don't know nobody knows what the reasons are, and I hope that
Jonathan,
in all of this, that he, you know, there's an opportunity for Jonathan Banks to come back, and who knows, it could still be the making of Jonathan Banks. Who knows?
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, you know. Because
he actually is he's a good fighter. I mean, people know he's a good fighter. That's the thing. So he's a real good fighter. That's it. That's the thing. So,
but when you're an entertainer, and what the young guys got to understand, and I say that they're the young guys, and I say that with authority.
Yes. Because
I'm the father of 3 boys. I'm the father of 4 girls, and those girls and boys are between the ages of 43 and 35.
Wow.
So I deal with this every day. My sons, my daughters, even as adults, I have to deal with them. I have to bring them to a place in their mentality to let them know that I'm still their father and that I'm still in control of their lives to a certain extent. That certain extent means morals. It means guidance. It means for you to adhere what I'm telling you. Because a father's job is never going to be done. So I believe that I'm in an authority to say certain things. And I'll say it to Jonathan, about Jonathan, or any other young guy that I work with. Stevie Chambers, Eddie Chambers, all these guys. I'm going to say what I want to say. Whether you like it or not, that's up to you. But they know me. These guys know me. I'm going to say what I have to say. You're in a good place. You knew you was coming to this fight. It was up to you to prepare yourself in every aspect. Put everything else on the back burner and get your ass ready to fight. You understand? You can't go in there with a bad tooth in your mouth, because that puts the whole program in jeopardy. You can have the momentum, the power, the speed, all this other thing, but that one bad tooth you got in your mouth can put the whole show in jeopardy. So whatever went on in that ring last night, which I don't know, only Jonathan Banks and the Lord knows what happened in that ring last night.
And the trainer, I suspect.
Well, maybe so and maybe not. Again, I don't want to speculate. I don't know. But the one thing is that I know that I'm not happy with what I saw last night. And as a cornerman, I have that right to be. I don't have to sit back and say I'm happy with that. I'm not happy with what I saw last night. I am not happy with that. You know, it really bothers a trainer or even cornermen when they take an athlete to a show and then you watch in slow mo. You watch this here and say, well, what the hell is going on? What's happening here? I'm watching in slow motion. I interjected in the 8th round, said, listen, man, we got 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. We can get back in this fight, but we need to make something happen now. Jonathan wouldn't double, triple jabs. How many times in the fight did he throw double jabs and triple jabs? How many times in the fight did he hook off the jab? How many times did he hook right hand off the jab? I didn't see none of that. I didn't see none of the language of a good boxer as such as Jonathan Banks. You had the heavyweight champion travel clear from around the world to come and pay homage to you. I didn't see the double jabs. I didn't see the overhand right. I didn't see the combination behind the combination. I didn't see that hustle, that drive, that enthusiasm that a champion is supposed to possess going into a tough fight. Like I say, I don't know whether it was an injury. whether something emotionally bothering them, I don't know. But I'm going to tell you something about what the skeptics and what the professionals say. They'll say, we don't care. We don't care. When I was a kid, there was a story that used to come on television. It was a sitcom. And the name of the story was The Naked City. And when the story came on, they would say, there are 8 million stories in the naked city, and yours is just one of them. That's how I came on. They would say, there are 8 million stories in the naked city, and they would pause. And yours is just one of them. In other words, who cares? Who cares? I've seen other people come in those situations, you know? So everybody has their opinions. Everybody has their setbacks. You know, Latimer and I had a conversation in the last camp we did. And he and I was sitting and talking, and he said, Ross Purity, Corey Sanders, and Lamont Brewster, they weren't on my level. And I said to him, lad, I said, perhaps they wasn't. I don't know. But what I do know is the night they fought you, they was on your level. All right? They didn't have to be on your level any other time, but for them 45 or 60 minutes that they signed on to fight you, they were on your level because they beat you. It doesn't matter whether they're on your level or not. All that matters is for those minutes that they're in that ring. Seth Mitchell didn't do a whole lot in that ring.
Seth Mitchell did a lot better than he did the first fight, to be fair.
He did it because Jonathan Banks allowed it.
So did you see any improvement in Seth Mitchell then? I saw improvements.
You know what? I really couldn't tell because Jonathan wasn't doing nothing. When Jonathan did do something, Seth didn't do nothing. Seth only did what Banks allowed him to do.
Agreed, but he still was able to do it. I mean, for a start, he was hurt.
Like I said, I felt that JB was a mummified guy in that ring last night. I didn't see no enthusiasm where he was punching off his movement. I didn't see no double jabs, no triple jabs. I didn't see no hooks off the jab. Right hand, left hooks. I didn't see none of those snappy combinations of a good boxer like this.
Okay, have you... I would say I've seen better sparring sessions than that fight last night.
Yes, I have too. So it wasn't the thing, the times that Jonathan wanted to walk to Seth and walk him down and back him up. Seth looked worried. He looked very worried. He looked out of control. When Jonathan was walking to him, forcing him back, Seth didn't look like he was in control. Seth landed punches that Jonathan allowed him to land. Jonathan's a much better defensive fighter than what he showed. In my opinion, what I saw was a tired man out there. I saw Jonathan as a tired man. Because after that rally, when he tried to get Seth out of it, it's like he never recovered from that.
Yeah. Yep.
You know?
What about the knockdown?
I'd have to look at the tape. You know. It might have been a justifiable knockdown, but I'd have to look at the tape to tell what really happened. You know? But, knockdown, you know, Jonathan motioned that he got hit in the back of the head. Whatever happened, you know, protect yourself at all times. So, that's another thing I don't like. I don't like for, you know, when a guy hits another guy, the guy says, no. You know, the guy makes motions, his body motions, and no, you didn't do nothing. You don't do that. That to me, that's unprofessional. You stay focused on the guy in front of you, and whatever he did, you don't respond to it other than with punches. That's how you respond to something. You want to let the guy know he ain't do nothing, hit him. Don't motion to the crowd. No, he ain't do nothing. That's not right. You know? I'm just upset about it. You know, I'm really upset about it.
Okay, let's change topic. Let's talk about Malinaji Brona. You obviously were there to see that.
Yeah.
What did you think?
What did I tell you? the last we talked, I said that Malignaggi would give Broner a harder time than most people in the
business
critics didn't expect it. I told you that.
Well, I thought Malignaggi would start fast, but then Broner would catch up to him and stop him late.
Yeah, he did start fast, and that's what gave him such success. I said that also. I said that he needed to start fast to reduce what Broner wanted to do. And I'm going to tell you something else. If Malignaggi was a puncher, you would have seen something in that ring last night.
There is somebody, I read something about Broner having chin issues. That's what somebody was suggesting. They did the research on Broner. He had chin issues, and that's why he's fighting the sort of guys he's fighting. But and that's why he's so defensive.
I don't know. I mean, you can't blame a guy for being defensive. You know, nobody wants to prove how good a punch they can take. You know.
I would like to see him in the ring with Keith Thurman. That's probably because I'm a Keith Thurman fan. But I'd love to see him in the ring with Keith Thurman.
Well, you know, you may just see that. You may just see him in the ring with Keith Thurman. You know. Who do you think would win? I think Broner would handle Keith Thurman.
Do you?
Yeah. I think he would handle Keith Thurman. I think Keith Thurman is a great puncher.
Yes.
You know, he's a great puncher. You know, he's got some good punching power, but his ring generalship needs something to be desired. He's got to get more education. But Broner is too slick, too smart. He's in the fire now, you know, so let's see what happens.
Well, Broner at 147 pounds didn't look the big puncher that he was down at 135.
No, but his boxing expertise, that's the thing that's going to keep him in the mix.
But all it takes is for one time to land on Broner's chin, because he's never really been tagged by someone who can really punch.
Well, Matisse, the guy what's the young man that fought Bradley?
Oh yeah, I know you're talking about.
The Russian kid.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know you're talking about. That'd be a good.
I think the Russian kid beats Thurman.
Really?
Yeah, I think the Russian kid will beat Thurman. I think that Russian kid beats Thurman.
What about Broner?
You know? I think that Russian kid could possibly beat Broner. If that same Russian kid that fought Bradley, if that same kid shows up to fight, he beats them. He beats them. He's a bull. I've seen him fight a couple of times before. He's a bull, and he's not no Cinderella guy. He's coming to fight.
And he can punch as well, obviously.
Yeah, he's a big puncher.
Broner, last night, they said the only thing that he messed up last night, you said he was going to mess up Malignaggi, the only thing he messed up last night was his reputation. What do you think about that?
Malignaggi gave him rec. We call rec. He gave him recreation. He gave him competition. You understand? If Malignaggi had a punch, you might have seen something in that ring last night. Because Malignaggi definitely got hard and he definitely got a good chin.
Yes. You
understand? All he needed was to have the guns, the punching power, and you would have seen something in that ring. You understand? You would have seen something in that ring.
How would Ahmad Khan fare against Broner? Speed and movement.
Good matchup.
Fast
good
hands
matchup.
Until Broner tags him?
No, I don't think at welterweight, I don't think Broner's that kind of puncher. At welterweight, I don't think Broner's that kind of puncher. You know?
Medina?
Who? Matisse?
Yes. Medina Matisse, yes. Against Broner.
I think Matisse beats him. I think Matisse beats Broner.
Garcia
and Broner is a good mix-up. That's a good matchup.
Zab Judah
beats him. Broner is too green to mess with Zab Judah. He don't want that. Broner did not want no Zab Judah, because Zab Judah can punch too.
And of course,
Broner would be Zab would crack him. Zab would hurt him, you know. You saw with Zab. Zab is not gone. He's not gone. He's still here.
Yep, he gave Garcia a fright in the 12th round for sure.
Yeah, he can crack. You know, when you can crack, that's the last thing to go on a fighter. History shows you that's the last thing to go.
Exactly. That'd be quite a press conference, don't you think?
Yeah, yeah. He wouldn't be able to move Zab. Zab is straight out of Brooklyn. You're not going to intimidate him. All right, I got to run. I got to get with you later on.
Okay.
Good
hey,
talk,
great
brother.
talking to you.
Yes, always great talking to you, you know. We got strides to make, you know, just a little setback. But I've said it before and I'll say it again. The young people in boxing, the young people in this world, if they're ever going to progress efficiently, they're still going to have to go to their elders to check out things.
Absolutely. I agree with that totally.
If I've got a elder statesman in any business or any sport in a corner with me, I'm not going to tell him to keep quiet. I did it because I'm a studious guy. But I'm not going to tell the guy to keep quiet. I'm going to say, what do you have to say? What do you have to invest? What do you have to contribute here that we can win this fight? We're at crunch time. This is critical. So I want to hear everything that anybody that can contribute. But again, some people think that they know everything, so they won't ask nothing, you know? And this young man that was in the corner last night, no exception to the rule. You've got to ask the elders, you know what I'm saying? I've been here for 40 years. I've got children his age. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that they can't tell me nothing because I'm all ears. When you got something to tell me that I don't know, I'm all ears. That's how humble and smart I am. To show my genius that I'll listen to anybody. If you got something to contribute to my mentality, contribute to my style, contribute to my sport, then I'm all ears if you got something of interest that I don't know about. So take advantage. All I'm saying is to all the young guys out there who are viewing this video, take advantage of the elders in anything. Not just boxing, in anything. The young people in this world think that they're so damn smart that they can't listen, that they don't have to ask nobody. You gotta ask. Otherwise, you'll miss a world of wisdom. You'll miss a world of wisdom.
Mr. Bashir, in this generation of young people, they don't want to listen. They feel they know it all. And so they say wisdom is wasted on the youth. Well, the youth of today, I would say 85% of them. That's true.
What do they say? I've been in gyms across much of this world.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes me back to a parable in the Bible. It says, cast not your stones amongst swine to be trampled upon.
Exactly.
Because if you took some pearls and threw them in a pig's pen, they'll defecate on them.
Absolutely.
They'll eat them, they'll trample and scarm, and because they don't know the value of the pearl. They don't know the value. So they'll just mar it and disregard it. And anything of value is always what? Hard and difficult to attain. If you want a pearl, you got to go in the deepest part of the water to get that pearl. And you might have to get how many shells before you find a pearl? You understand?
Yeah.
Who put that pearl there? Why is that pearl there? What created that pearl? There's so many questions surrounding the mystery of a pearl. You can open up 100,000 clams and don't find no pearl. All of a sudden you find one clam in 5, 10. Some people be in there 15 years to find one pearl. How did a pearl get in that clam? Where did it come from? You know, these are the questions that I ask my mind. And why? What they say, those guys that go down to get those pearls, would they get the bends? Is that the bends they call it?
Yes.
And it messes up their spine, it messes their body up. You understand? When you're looking for ore, when you're looking for uranium, when you're looking for gold, you got to go into the deepest part of the earth to find it. The earth hides it and protects it. If you're going to get ore, where you got to go? You got to go deep into the earth to get that ore. The earth is protecting it. You got to labor to get that. How do you get that? You got to have knowledge to get that. The young people can't go around. Everybody's high. I know this. I got that guy. I got this guy. just because you've been blessed to have a couple of boxes that reach the high levels of boxing doesn't make you a genius. Many people just get fortunate. You know? Many people just get fortunate. But don't never think, all the young people out there, don't think that you know everything. There's always people who's got stuff in their mind that you don't even know about because you did not take time to ask or to question them. That's all I'm saying. That's all. I got a wealth. I got a reservoir of wisdom right here in my head because I've worked with some of the master trainers over the last 35, 40 years. I've worked with the master trainers, masters, and I've asked questions and I've taken notes, mental notes and physical notes about the art of the sport of boxing. And the littlest thing that you contribute is what helps the guy get over the line. So hopefully Jonathan Banks can come back, you know. You know, hopefully he can come back, you know. But he put himself. He took 3 steps back last night, you know.
Yeah.
So maybe he can come back and do something later on. Okay.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bashir.
You're welcome.
Take care.